Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, DwyerVIP.com for premium picks on Roku, Dwyer Boxing, and Dwyer Sports Betting. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own, even for post-fight videos. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Now, I heard from Roku Nation. The comments are still up in the comment section to the pre-fight video. Before the fight, I said that I thought while either guy could win by knockout, only Mike Alvarado could win this fight by decision. The play that I recommended was Mike Alvarado at greater than 3-1 odds to win the fight, hedged against Brandon Rios at -200 to win by knockout. Believe it or not, the hedge held. You made money. The casinos were guessing on this one, and they guessed wrong. Mike Alvarado, a greater than 3-1 underdog, actually delivered. More importantly, I thought, and perhaps I am in the minority here, but I thought he did so rather convincingly. Right? The first two rounds, he started badly. He seemed to be trying to do a Timothy Bradley impression, right? Bradley against Ruslan Provodnikov. He came in, he was moving early, looked good, suddenly gave up the movement, was planted against a guy who's coming forward, trying to hit you with hooks up close, started trading with Brandon Rios, almost got knocked out, lost the first two rounds, looked bad, got cut, right? Brandon Rios seemed to be landing his right hand with regularity. But then something happened. The third round, right? Mike Alvarado, all I can say is he barely survives the second round. I thought all you need to know about him happens at the end of the second round. He barely survives it. As he's walking back to his corner after getting his bell rung in the round, he waves at the crowd. Right? In other words, this is a guy who likes to fight. He knows he got his bell rung. Trust me, nobody knows that better than him. Right? We know it because he did a weird dance in the ring. But he survived the round. That's good enough for him. Right? He just wanted to continue on in the fight, give it what he had. That's who he is. As I said in the pre-fight video, he is a warrior. There's a long line of Mike Alvarado fights, the Breeders' Prescott fight, for example, where Mike Alvarado has been in wars and has had exactly that reaction. So we get to the third round. Now make no mistake, the third round, the fourth round, they are rough and tumble. No question about it. I'm not here to say that it's anything other than a lot of bullets flying and guys doing what they can. Both guys are hit with a lot of buckshot. But here's the difference. Mike Alvarado is simply more technically sound than Brandon Rios, right? For one, Brandon Rios comes in with his hands like this. He's looking to be offensive, right? Brandon Rios is open for the right hand, just like Alvarado was open for the right hand in the first two rounds. Let me just say, too, Rios, who is not adaptive reactive, is open for that right hand the rest of the fight. He makes no adjustment. Let me just say, too, we can online here say, oh, he has a great chin. I'm just here to tell you that the guys with great chins eventually have their chins dented. Right? You simply cannot go through an entire career getting hit on the chin. Right? Antonio Margarito was known to have a granite chin. You would hit him, he would laugh at you. Then came the Shane Mosley fight. Margarito went down several times. One of these days, Brandon Rios is going to get hit flush like he did against Mike Alvarado several times. And make no mistake, Alvarado is very heavy-handed, right? Guys Raynar quit on his stool rather than continue to fight Mike Alvarado. He's very heavy-handed. You couldn't tell in this fight because Brandon Rios literally takes all of the punches. Brandon Rios' idea of defense is to just get hit on the chin and continue throwing punches, right? So the third round and the fourth round, as rough and tumble as they are, I believe in those rounds, Mike Alvarado took control of the fight. And let me just say, I thought Mike Alvarado continued to control the fight thereafter. Right now, the judges, who knows what's in the water. But the judges today just did a very shaky job. Not only in the Tony Bellew, Isaac Chilemba fight, but this fight. I don't know how you look at this fight and have Mike Alvarado only winning the fight by 2 rounds, which is what 2 of the judges had him winning by. The third judge had him winning by 1 round, right? I didn't watch that fight. The fight I watched, Alvarado had a rocky takeoff. But once he rights the ship, right? Once the third round starts, I'd be surprised if Brandon Rios wins more than 1 round the rest of the way, right? He's getting clocked methodically with right hooks. He's getting hit methodically up top with right hooks. Then Alvarado, on occasion, would take a step back, go on his back foot, hit him with jabs. Then, of course, as Rios would come forward, occasionally Rios would land a punch, Alvarado would lean over and hit him again with the right hand, right? I thought Alvarado really showed superior defense, superior movement. In fact, lateral movement. He's the only one in this fight showing lateral movement, right? He's the only one in this fight who has any semblance of a back foot game, right? I thought his jab was the better jab in this fight. To the Rios crowd, please, educate me. Tell me exactly what Brandon Rios did better than Mike Alvarado in this fight. Tell me, too, why judges are so mesmerized by Brandon Rios. I can't figure it out because I thought the scoring in the Richard Abril fight was ridiculous. I thought the scoring in this fight was ridiculous. I know Rios is all offense. I know he's always coming forward. But isn't that the problem? The predictability, right? Also the lack of defense. When does getting hit with punches actually change from being a macho thing to actually being a lack of defense, right? So, to the YouTubers who expressed their concerns in the pre-fight video that, Rios could well win this by decision, all I could say is I thought it was obvious by the 9th round that Brandon Rios needed to get knockdowns to get back in the fight on the scorecard. In other words, I thought Alvarado had opened it up. His punches were the harder punches. His punches were the cleaner punches. I thought that Rios really had no comeback for him. In other words, Rios would come in, right hand would hit him. He would just, get hit and then pause for a second and continue to come forward. Let me also point out, too, that you can have the best corner in the world, the best trainers in the world, and sometimes they're unable to help you. If you thought Joel Diaz lost his temper with Timothy Bradley, I hope when you look at this telecast, you listen to Robert Garcia in the Rios corner. He literally says to Rios, what are you doing? Be smarter than this. Because he can't believe how often his fighter's getting hit. Right? He can't believe how exposed Rios is leaving himself. And it's really stunning because keep in mind, the guy he's fighting is a knockout puncher. Right? He's not fighting a cream puff guy with a 20% knockout ratio. No, he's literally fighting, a guy who prides himself on getting KOs, who needed a KO, laid against Breeders' Prescott and got one. So, the bet delivered. Let me also caution gamblers. Tonight was a good night, right? On this fight at least, right? The Chilemba fight, I still say Chilemba won that fight. I'm still bummed. I should have collected underdog odds, better than even money odds on that fight, and I'm gonna have to live with that. But at least this fight evened it out. At least this fight, the judges got it right. Right? Brandon Rios, too. Keep in mind, this is his first loss. Let me just say this, too, and I don't say it lightly. He's going to have to start varying the script. Because if he were to face an Adrian Broner, for example, right, guys who, like him, can throw that short uppercut inside, but who, unlike him, actually have defensive skills inside, Rios' predictability is going to make him a sitting duck, right? He's going to have problems. And if he faces a guy with a good jab who knows that Rios is going to continually walk into it, like Richard Abril in a rematch, he's going to have problems, right? Keep in mind, both Abril and Broner have titles, right? Those are the kind of guys that Rios would fight going forward. Let me also say this too, and I don't say it lightly. I was very concerned about Timothy Bradley's health after the Ruslan Provatnikov fight. I personally thought that the last person in the world Bradley should fight in his next fight would be Ruslan Provatnikov, because Provatnikov knows Bradley, right? Knows how to land punches on Bradley. And Bradley, of course, as it was, suffered a concussion. Now, I know we all want to see another action fight, but these Hearns-Hagler type matchups, right, these Alvarado-Rios type matchups really are detrimental to the health of fighters like Brandon Rios, since Rios got hit flush so many times, right? Everyone looks healthy in their 20s, right? Some guys start to slow down in their 30s. When you really notice the damage that boxing does to guys who have gotten hit in the head repeatedly in their careers is in their 40s and 50s. That's when you start to see slurred speech. That's when the guy looks tired when he talks, right? All I'm saying to Brandon Rios is, I know you're young, I know you own the world right now, even though you lost this fight. But I wouldn't step in the ring again with Mike Alvarado for at least the next year. Promoters are going to come. They're going to have all kind of money. Alvarado now has a title. It would be a title fight. It would be an easy sell. Your top priority right now should be you and your family. You fought the guy twice. You've had 2 legendary fights, right? You're 500 with the guy. You're 1-1 with the guy. The boxing public views you as having fought heroically in this fight. If I were you, I would take a step back and I would fight some other guys, right? If Brandon Rios is having a problem making weight, which are the rumors, right? In fact, at the weigh-in, he initially weighed a little bit more than 140. That was the weigh-in yesterday. If I were him, I would consider moving up to 147, right? Because losing weight after a while becomes detrimental to your health, right? Then, of course, when Mike Alvarado moves up to 147, or perhaps a year from now, after you have success at 147, then I could revisit the Mike Alvarado war. But just keep in mind, Israel Vasquez had similar wars with Rafael Marquez, right? And all I'm saying is they're depleting. Vasquez was never the same fighter, right? If I'm Brandon Rios, I think about the rest of my career. I'm sure he's going to wake up tomorrow with an incredible headache, no matter how much machismo he shows in interviews, right? You don't get hit by a puncher that often in the head and, continue to be okay. So if I'm Rios, I would think about this one. I would try to take a couple of lighter hitting opponents in my next fight or two. If Paulie Malignaggi were to beat Adrian Broner, and I think that's a distinct possibility, folks. If he beats Adrian Broner, I think Paulie Malignaggi would be the perfect opponent, because Malignaggi is more of a technician. He doesn't punch like Alvarado, even though he's one weight class up. And of course, Malignaggi has the welterweight championship, right? Those are the kind of fights, if I were advising Brandon Rios, I'd consider. Let me hear from you. Congratulations to the gamblers. Leave your comments for me here online. To the group that said, hey, Mr. Dwyer, I think you're wrong on this. I think Brandon Rios wins by a decision. Tell me what happened in this fight. I'd love to hear from you. I'd also love to hear from those of you who gave that pre-fight video a negative rating, a thumbs down. Come back. Let's share notes. Thanks for watching.